think we can all agree that there is nothing more sweeter than a good comeback story. Whether it be the underdog or somebody climbing back to the top after one bad day, seeing somebody or someone win in the end is extremely bittersweet. Within Shonen Jump, every battle action series right now is in constant comparison. My Hero Academia, Jujutsu Kaisen, and One Piece are the colossal titans of recent years, bringing some of the most insane moments and takes to grace the demographic. However, one common trait between these series is that they all had a strong start, especially with their anime. A trait that cannot be fully said for something like Black Clover. Around the time the Black Clover anime came out, it was met with a pretty weird reception. A combination of complaints from the voice acting and the animation, which I will be diving into with this video, causing anime to somewhat trip over itself. A few years ago, if you were to tell me that Black Clover would become one of the most loved series in the Shonen Jump lineup, I would most certainly not believe you given the amount of slander and downright beating it was getting on social media. Yet fast forward to today and that is exactly the reality of the situation. Yuki Tabata has managed to pull off one of the greatest comebacks in recent shonen, especially with the manga content, and it's worth the praise given the competition. Now before we get too far into talking about what is making Black Clover so great now, we gotta start from the beginning and talk about the rough start it had that put it miles behind the competition. So just to put this into perspective, I was one of the people who waited for Black Clover to get ahead on its episode count. I was having extreme MHA brain rot on top of catching up to One Piece because I hate myself, and I did not start watching Black Clover weekly until the Water Temple arc. From my understanding, Black Clover had 3 major complaints at the beginning of the series. One being the voice actor of Asta being a bit too loud or obnoxious. Something that I somewhat understood, but he rapidly improved, so it didn't really stick much as a complaint for me. The second being that some people felt the start was very generic, cliche, and didn't really feel unique. Let me be clear and say that there is no battle shonen that is immune to cliches or tropes. The most important thing about either of those is how you take something and make it your own within a series. Black Clover to me is a big cliche, but that on its own is not a bad thing in the slightest, especially when things are consistently executed well, embracing the heart of what it means to be a good shonen. I feel like this pursuit from the anime community, constantly looking for what the next big thing is, has made it to where this age of fans is always looking for something either above and beyond in animation or in story. Yet whatever happened to enjoying these new journeys that take aspects from the big three and bringing them back in a fresh manner and solidifying a series as a classic? I have seen Black Clover compared to Bleach, Naruto, and of course My Hero Academia for the most absurdly trivial reasons. It also did not help that you had large content creators at the time completely dunking on the series for these reasons or more. Majority of them have made videos now where they have apologized and spoken highly of the series, which is an overall good thing, but it doesn't magically erase the damage done from the initial point of view. This series was shoved so far deep in the ground and it only got pushed further with its last complaint being the animation. Now you might want to grab a snack because I'm really about to drill into this one. The anime industry is a giant clusterfuck of rolling the dice and getting lucky. Some animes get fortunate enough scheduling and allocated resources to where they are able to put out quality content, while others are, well, unlucky cases. Scheduling is one of the most crucial aspects when it comes to developing an anime. When animators are not given enough time to work on the cuts they want to accomplish or they fall behind, you are going to notice it. There is no anime that is immune to this, but however, they can avoid it. The Black Clover anime is without a doubt peak inconsistency. It had ups and downs, but who do we blame here? Because I can tell you now, it's not the animators. This anime should have been seasonal from the get-go anyway. I don't know who had the big brain idea of making it ongoing like Boruto, but that is a huge setup for complaints down the line. Even with this in mind though, the Black Clover staff is one of the most passionate teams of people I have ever seen in anime history. Now granted, passion can be interpreted in a lot of ways. It could be admiration and love for a series like the Mob Psycho staff or elevation of content like the One Piece staff. However, the Black Clover staff have worked and worked tirelessly to the point where it makes you want to root for them. One of the most notable facts that has never left my mind to this day is that the Elf Arc finale episode was worked on all the way up until release. These people worked overnight and did everything they could to ensure that this episode looked amazing to wrap up the Elf Arc, and if that's not true passion, then I don't know what is. A lot of times episodes can get outsourced and straight up given up on, but these people stuck it out, and that's when I knew that I was going to be here for the long run. Regardless of me being a bigger fan of things like My Hero Academia, I've always argued that no matter what, every series deserves a fair chance. Even if you love to slander the living hell out of things, you can at least respect the good content an author puts out. In Black Clover's case, I don't think people had a lot of issues with the manga in terms of the direction of the story. The negativity has always been directed towards the anime primarily, and thus begs the big question: when did Black Clover have its comeback starting line? My answer: the famous conclusion with the battle against despair. The anime quite literally smacked the entire anime community with a spell when it came to the conclusion of this arc. I think a lot of people began to realize that Black Clover can be raw and cliche, and it blends perfectly. That blend became a strong point, and for this to lead into the Witch's Forest arc right after debuting Asta's transformation only kept the momentum going even stronger. Folks began to really enjoy the surpass your limits phrase, and the studio was really starting to get in their bag the best way they could afford to. The Royal Knight's exam being the best showcase of this, with some of the most consistent row of fights the series has had, with Yuno vs. Real being an absolute masterclass spectacle. Animators like Yukina Kosaka and Tatsuya Yoshihara being just two names that etched their way into the community with creating some of the highest peaks weeks of the tournament arc. Then to lead from this arc into the series' first game-changing arc, and I think the rest is self-explanatory. The defeat of Julius, Noel's transformation, Asta and Yuna versus Lick, the backstory of the first Wizard King, and the finale attack was all back-to-back momentum that kept the fire going for the anime weekly. I started looking forward to Black Clover Tuesdays at some point. Also, it helps that Black Clover is on an opening streak that might just end up becoming one of the greatest sets of openings for a shonen series ever, but I fear the community isn't ready for that hot take yet. Looking at where the anime stopped at, it's safe to say that people really enjoyed the first half of the Spade Kingdom War arc as well. For anime onlys, they know how big the stakes are, and yet there is no telling when the anime is coming back, but it's the anticipation that someday it will that shows just how far this series has come in terms of its reception. Now, in case you were out of the loop, Black Clover does have a movie coming, and I feel we will hear some good news about it towards the end of this year with Jump Festa, but there is something major I want to say in regards to Black Clover. Whether you're a JJK fan, an MHA one, or somebody who constantly tries to put this series down, it is undeniable that Black Clover has had one of the greatest comebacks in recent shonen history. The recent events have earned its praise, and there really isn't much to be said that can take away from that. It's here to stay, and Tabata has been dropping some really great developments for the story as well. From the Lucius reveal to the hiatus in preparation for the final arc, and now the Land of the Sun, Tabata dropped one of the boldest moves and it worked. Now, I'm not saying that Black Clover is the greatest thing of all time because it's far from it, but just like I do for anything I read or watch, I want to be fair and acknowledge the good that rises from the constant negativity that was the start of the series. So if you are one of those people who are constantly praying for Black Clover to get axed, get a grip and accept the truth. Black Clover isn't going anywhere anytime soon. I hope the movie does well and surprises people on just how much higher this ceiling can go. To bring this to a close, let me just say this. Gege is not Tabata and Tabata is now Horikoshi. Each of these authors have their strengths, limitations, and weaknesses. If anything, we should want to see them get better and better because they are going to be around for a very long time. The anime community is extremely toxic when it comes to open-mindedness, but you don't have to be. Formulate your own opinions, do your own research, and define for yourself what it means to enjoy a good series. But that brings me to the end of this video. As always, thank you for watching, and if you are currently watching Black Clover or reading it, feel free to let me know all your thoughts on the series in the comment section down below. Stay safe out there, and I will catch you guys in the next video.